Until next week.
Well, good morning. It is 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, June 29th. The Richland County Board of Commissioners is now in session. I'm County Commissioner Cliff Mears, joined by fellow commissioners Tony Barrow, Darrell Banks, our clerk Stacy Kroll, our county administrator Andrew Keller. We have Carl Hunnell from the media. We also have a number of our friends from Children's Services, Nikki Harless, Kevin Goshi, and Drew Miller, and here to be impressed by the goings on in Richland County.
That's right.
Katie Semo, representing Keith Faber, the Ohio Auditor of State. Online, we probably have Al.
And WMFD.
Oh,
Wow.
and Carl's in the flesh today.
Yeah.
You must have known the auditor's office is coming.
Oh, thank you all for being, and Mr. Morgenstern is here as well. Our first order of business is to discuss the approval of a resolution to proceed with a renewal levy. So if any of you would like to say a few words about that. I know we talked about this. I think the date was June 8th. Yes, June 8th originally. So we're here on the 29th to finalize that. Any comments, anything you'd like to add?
Well, thanks for the opportunity to come down and meet with you again.
Glad to see you guys.
Last time, as you said, on June 8th, we met. You graciously approved for us a resolution of necessity to renew one of our two 1 mil property tax levies. Requested the auditor to certify the amount of money to be generated by that levy on that. So now, in accordance with the revised code, we're back to request approval of a resolution to proceed to put this levy on the ballot November 7th, 23. And so we're just here to ask for approval of that. It is a 1 mil property tax levy renewal, so not a new tax. At the county auditor's website, and there is something out there called the 2021 popular annual financial report. And on page 10 of that report, it shows real estate taxes on a 100,000 occupied home. Children's Services, two combined levies would cost the owner of that $100,000 home $55.58 per year. So
About $4 a month.
yeah,
So for the amazing work that you folks do.
hopefully the voters will see fit to approve this renewal for us.
I believe on your last trip, scored the necessity for the levy, and I believe we all are fans of you and do the indispensable work that you do.
Pretty obvious to us that the need is increasing. I certainly support it, and I think my two colleagues will.
There are financial questions. This is one of the 2 mills at 10 years, generates about 4.3, right, Kevin?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
Carl, you have any questions?
Just a couple real quick. So I think you just answered it at the end. Certify 4.3 million annually.
For the two levies combined,
What is this? By itself.
372,000.
And Kevin, you gave a number for this combined, there's $55.58. What about just one?
I do not have that number.
Carl, you know Pat makes that available to you on our handy dandy website. Now you have the levy calculator.
Well, this is not it's not on there yet, so
I can put it on there?
But the levy calculator shows both levies, it doesn't separate them,
Well, like this. You really want
but they're not equal.
they're not even.
well, one's 2.3 and the other's about 2, right, Kevin? So.
Right.
So I would say this one's about 55%.
Record commissioners criticizing the media.
I did not.
It's just informing.
I'm in for me.
Anything else, Carl?
No, I said, sorry.
No, okay, sorry. Al, what you got? Any questions for us?
Yeah, stupid fingers. No, I don't have any questions. Carl, asked the main one.
Okay. And is that Greg that's on, or we don't know? Whoever's from MFD, did you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. You guys broke
Yes.
up a bit. The combined levies is $4,372,000. Was there any change in there, or is that
I show
Total amount.
4320, Greg. That's what we passed in the 2020.
320?
Yeah, that's what we passed for the 2023 resolution by the Budget Commission.
Okay. That's all I needed. You just broke up on me a little bit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Thank you all for coming. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
For your support.
It's a campaign start.
Well, we're gonna be in the parade. All the staff will be in the Ontario parade.
All uphill.
Yeah.
And very, very much up.
Vote for the levy shirt.
Step of
The
that.
walk to the parade's actually longer than the
I'm
parade.
sure. It's gonna be hot, I'm sure, but. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
So, next order of business is to certify the record of proceeding for June 27th.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes,
Banks,
Yes.
Barrow,
Yes.
I have a motion to approve requisitions.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes,
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
I have a motion to approve month-end appropriations and transfers.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes,
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding for local workforce area 10.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes,
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
motion to approve the service and business associate agreement with Community Alternative Center and Richland County Mental Health.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes,
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow.
Yes.
motion to award the Kreider Road Bridge project to Mother Construction.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes,
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
I can point out that that bid amount is $2,411,504.34. The estimate had been $2,301,948, and I did some quick math. That's about 5% over.
Bill was playing by Price is Right rules. He wouldn't have won one in forever.
No. No.
Everyone's, he's short and they're always over. He would lose.
As he puts it, the bid amount was over, but not by more than 10%, so we can award.
That's right. I have a motion to authorize adult court services to purchase 3 used.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
Any other business for right now? Carl, any questions? Anyone? Al, any questions on what we've just done?
Yeah, the Area 10 MOU, what is that for?
You want to speak on that, Daryl?
Not very bad.
Medicaid, Al, it's Medicaid related.
Not for Area 10, it's not.
No.
Ask about Area 10.
Oh, the Area 10?
It's all the partners. Agreement, they all sign it, that's in the Area 10. It's standard. Want it, I can send it.
Okay, I was just looking for a basic description of what it does.
Clinton, I could probably answer that well, but he's on his way to the airport, so.
Okay, this is just a
I can tell you,
cooperative
Al, that-
agreement to
On page 3 of the agreement, it identifies individuals with barriers to employment and it helps to assist those people finding a job. It's a long list, but it's displaced homemakers, low-income individuals, older individuals, homeless individuals, youth that have aged out of the foster community. Series of people that it helps, provides an incentive and kind of takes down those barriers to finding employment. That's kind of my quick recap of it.
Yeah, but this MOU is basically what, an operating agreement then?
Call it a business service and business associate agreement.
Nope, that's the wrong,
That's the wrong one.
that's the middle.
Now, in order for the agencies that work with the Area 10 to get monies, it's necessary to be documented in order to flow Medicaid monies and other dollars through the various organizations. They're all part of the Area 10, or excuse me, the local workforce Area 10 dollars and programs.
And I can point out that does include Ohio Means Jobs, Crawford County, as well as Richland County.
Correct, because they're the second county in the Area 10, Al.
All right, so this is the WIOA Area 10?
Well, yes, in a roundabout way, yes.
Okay,
WIOA forms the creation of the local workforce Area 10. That's where the workforce board comes out of, which is WIOA.
okay, so this is basically the agreement with the
Everyone.
workforce board, and so
Yeah.
you can divide the money. That's what I was looking for.
There are a
Okay.
whole series of partners in this agreement.
Correct.
And so if I just called it a partnership agreement, that would be.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
probably right.
Anything else?
Yeah, I gotta double check my notes. How much are you spending on those cars for adult court services? I'd forgotten.
Oh, hang on here. I have to probably add these up. The first vehicle is a 2021 Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee at 30,500. The other, it's also a Jeep Grand Cherokee, but it's a 2020. That one is 30,000 even. And the third vehicle is a 2021 Dodge Durango for $31,000.
So that's
Nine.
$91,500.
There you go.
Okay, I think that's all I had. Thank you.
Let's hope they get them faster than the sheriff's cruisers.
Yeah, these are used.
These are used though, so they should get
Let
them.
me point out as well, Al, those are paid for by the probation services grant. All three are.
Andrew, I was talking to Joe Massey last night and we got the 2022 cruisers finally, I think.
Mhm.
Anything else, Al?
Bidenomics.
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, Greg, do you have anything?
He's gone.
Who's gone?
We approved them at the end of 21.
Okay. Having no other business at this time, we will stand in recess until 10 o'clock when we will discuss the Richland County branding. We'll have a branding presentation, new logo and how it's out to the public.
You want to wait?
We can give him a couple minutes.
Yes.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't have anything until 11 after, so.
And it won't take us a whole long time.
Are you going tonight?
To the hoops for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that we don't like Tony, but
I got
this was
it.
delivered earlier, so
Ah.
I just don't want everyone to know that,
Is this,
Not even my birthday.
yes. Yes, Sandy can send it to you. Yep.
I guess I should have, or wait, I didn't have my shirt anyway, so.
Those are really cool slides. Can you?
Send them to you, those? Yeah, yep.
I'll give you a card.
Give it to Sandy and then she'll. Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you, whatever it is.
Yes.
Not ticking.
Take it in Mansfield.
Send him a text, letting him know Jody was here before him and then.
It's holding everything up.
We know they're not asking me today, because if they were, they'd been here on.
Where can I find the Shiloh coverage there, Greggy? I can't wait. On the front page. I did a search of Shiloh.
It may not be in the headline. They said something like park.
Oh, look at the eyes, those eyes. He came to the Ohio Health thing yesterday and I said, this ain't Ashland, pal. I said, quit trying to get glom off of our success.
It's right there.
There it is. Oh, hey, go back.
You can just, you should be able to.
Never mind. He was printing something in the.
Oh, I can't wait.
5 of them sitting down with these. Robin button.
Matt Miller trying to steal our success.
Well, they do, but they're just like this. So they don't.
Cause he was over here yesterday.
Told him this wasn't Ashland.
Sat next to him in Mid-Ohio, Miss Ohio.
Oh, he's into that. Did you ever watch their proposal video?
Oh, yeah.
Eleni,
Saying that
you've
monitor.
already taken on one title. How about you take on a second?
Vote it. I mean, I think
My
that.
wife and I have watched it 5,000 times.
They'll let me know if it's not enough. I could cancel it.
I would have gone to my wife and I proposed, you want to take on a title? I would have got,
She picked out 5 of them today. And I reviewed them all this morning in order.
every pot has, what is it? Every pot has a lid, yeah, lid has a pot.
Every pot has a lid.
Oh, man. It's about the most.
Anybody wants one.
Andrew, your mayor,
Regular.
oh, Ashland's mayor came to the mammogram unit.
Yeah, it's
Mine
actually
has the
just like,
keyboard.
well, Robin bought.
I told him this wasn't Ashland.
That's all good. Like 3 wanted them, all got rid of them.
No,
I don't,
but he is scheduled to attend
That forbids.
Give 'em-
next community get together.
Well, the funny thing, Jesse went over to him too, probably right after you.
All right, since you,
said-
Tell him
are
it's
good,
good.
I'll look and
What's that?
Jesse went over to Matt, probably right after you.
I think so.
He says, what brings you over to these? And he's like, he goes, I should have just assumed that he was here for this, but he just.
'Cause there's no-
So he got double.
All right.
The camera.
Put the camera here.
His camera.
They have an Ashland campus.
I had Matt come over so we could smile and light up through the fog.
Yeah. He speaks to you through his eyes, man. Oh, is this the table where all the?
He should be walking in.
You're smiling, just thinking.
He was
about it.
pulling.
I mean, even when he's not here.
Might have trouble getting through security.
He could. Not through our packages.
Yeah,
We were a little worried.
Yeah. Is he?
No,
Okay, okay.
that's who I was talking. He's the mayor of Ashland.
Yes.
Do they have a cost for that park yet?
She.
I told them to ask and then we didn't get a number.
Of course not.
What park?
Shiloh.
Oh, yeah, I did read that.
Who cares about cost? I love it.
Money is no object.
Afternoon,
He
lady.
walks in, of course.
Afternoon. What I missed.
You got beat by Jody Perry in terms,
Presentation's over, Lee.
I mean,
least you got that captured.
we go,
Really?
we're noting,
I didn't come.
by the way, that Jody beat you.
The Richland County Board of Commissioners is back in session at 10:07. We're here to have a presentation about about branding with the county, and we have some new visitors with us. We have Matt Hill from IP there in the back. We have representatives from the Chamber, Richland Chamber, Jody and Sandy are here, and Lee Nassif here. And Greg Kale went from virtual to real. So Lee, Jody, fair show. Let's see what you got.
All right.
Go for it.
So just to kind of, I mean, I know we've been here talking about branding over the last really 4 years. Thank you, COVID, for drawing it all out. But we kind of want to just take you through and so that everyone is kind of level set on where we were. Can I take a peek at that? I
Go
actually
for it.
don't know what's coming. Okay. So again, this really was a project that was jump-started during Mansfield Rising, which of course was focused really on downtown Mansfield. But at that time, Lee and I had been already talking for years about, hey, we need a larger community brand, like a county brand, but didn't quite know, where do you get that started? And so the Mansfield Rising project was a good impetus for that. Financially supported by Richland County Foundation, Destination Mansfield, the Chamber, the City of Mansfield, Richland County Commissioners, Mechanics Bank, Park National Bank, and Ohio Health and Richland Source. So,
And
Richland County Commissioner, I said that, didn't I? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I said it out of order. That's probably why you didn't see it. Sorry. I moved you up the list. So we were full speed ahead. Had a committee that was helping with kind of starting with choosing the consultant. Fall of 2019, we brought 6 different consultants in, did interviews, had picked a consultant by December, signed a contract. Early 2020, we started planning for what they call immersion. They're going to be in town, getting to know Richland County. This is going to be amazing. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. And, it first started as a short pause, which then turned into a much longer pause. We did have some debate that year about should we just try to do immersion virtually, digitally? And we actually did explore it with our consultants of what would this look like? You're in Oklahoma. We're here. How would this work? And we just all were like, no, we would rather wait till you can be boots on the ground and really see our community. And I will say, as the Chamber, as Destination Mansfield, we always want to work local, but community branding is its own special thing. And so that's why we ultimately looked at very specific groups that do this as a whole. As we've gotten further into the project, though, we have used a lot of local vendors. And so carrying it out is very much a local thing. So I want to just note that. So then they came in July 2021. I think you all maybe had a chance to meet them. It feels like it was a while ago now, but took them around full speed ahead. We, by the end of that year, we kind of had the initial concepts, loved the brand story. The logos choices got drawn out a little bit because we had a lot of back and forth with them, with our committee. Ultimately kind of settled in February of 2022. So that's kind of where we got. So now this is the brand family of logos. As you can see, we've got, this really shows Mansfield at the top, but really by the tagline, Richland County is the top. Richland County, a family of communities. And then all the rest of the communities, cities and villages say a Richland County community. So one of the things that we committed to during this process was we wanted this to work for everyone. We don't expect that everyone's just going to drop the logos that they have, but we wanted them to have something that they can utilize along with their logos so that we start to speak more common language and show more common branded material. We have built these logos out for all of these villages. So we'll show you a little bit later. The website But, we paid extra to do that because we wanted to make it very, very easy. We went down to the village level. We stopped there. There's a lot of townships, but, everybody can use Richland County as an umbrella if they need to. And we've been real pleased with the feedback that we've gotten, the buy-in that we've gotten. So I'm going to hand it over to Lee a little bit to talk about kind of where we're at now and how it's beginning to be used.
One of the things we also said was that we weren't going to have like a big ta-da and show everybody. We would just start to use it. We'd let you know what we've done. And, when it came to the logo. Oh, sorry. But then we would just start to execute the plan and start to use it. So eventually you'll just start seeing things around town. What you've got on screen now are samples of our ads, which are all tourism based. You've got some sample ads utilized or should be utilized by Chamber and RCDG. Notice that the Space 4 campaign, which is one of the themes that we came up with from the branding agency, has multiple uses. It can cut across any subject matter, whether it's coming to play, coming to visit, coming to work. Either way, it's got a lot of room for it, which is one of our goals as well. It's very flexible. And then you've got the housing plan. They went all in and used the brand. The cover of the Chamber's annual report used it. Obviously, all of our materials have it. They would put the logo on the end of their workforce development videos. So we're all starting to speak in that language. And that was one of the things we wanted to do. We wanted to lead by example. Profiles that started showing up, back up a hair. The profiles that started showing up in our visitor guide and also the Chamber's directory feature folks who actually were part of the interview process. They're either rebounders, which means they're born here, left town, came back, or they're transplants from somewhere else and came to live here. We wanted, while we had people's attention with each of our publications, rather than hit them over the head with you should move here. It's like, no, let's have them be introduced to people from our community, speaking in their words, why they stayed here, why they raised a family, why their career was successful here, or why they came back and why it was important to them. And so the first profiles were done in last year's visitor guide and the Chamber directory. We did a whole new round of them. So each year we're starting to build on all the profiles, which again is just another way to link.
That's the next one. Yeah.
Sorry. And this is obviously how we used it in the front of our visitor guide. We decided to go all in, and you don't see our name other than on the inside in the bottom of the table of contents. The object was the brand speaks first. We're secondary. We're just the entity that's putting it together and putting it out there. But that way we're all speaking in the same voice to the outside world. And that's part of the importance of why the brand matters. From the outside in, we look the same. We have continuity. We look like we're all together. And that was a big part of what we've done. And this is just a visual way of expressing that. One of the samples here is we just took a random photo. This ad's not been placed yet, but it's a great sample. This is a concert down in Belleville. If you can click to the next slide. What you've got is Space for Gathering. We use that same Space 4, same copy. However, one of them is tagged with a Belleville logo. One of them is tagged with the Richland County logo. If ads were put out there promoting each community and what makes them unique, which obviously makes Richland County unique, you have the ability through the branding system to make that happen.
And I just want to add, one of the things that we initially asked the branding company in our initial RFP was not just for the brand itself and the logo system, but also for a campaign that would work both for tourism as well as for economic development. And they brought us a couple different options, but we landed on this one, Space 4. So you're starting to see that. You should be starting to see that in both of our materials. I mean, I know it's there. We have used it directly when companies are coming to town and we're pitching them on Richland County to locate here. We're using that Space 4 concept. And we just all really liked it because we thought, yeah, we do have space in Richland County. We have physical space. We've got, we are looking to grow in a in a smart way, I guess I would say. We don't want to get crazy, but you know, and we really loved that the campaign, the focus was so much on the photography and then just a little bit, because, you know, I mean, really, when you're flipping a magazine or looking at something on the internet, nobody's reading a whole lot of script. So we really wanted visually to tell a strong story.
And the theme obviously allows for that to happen. In fact, we've used most of our ads have Mansfield in it. We have one for Mid-Ohio has Lexington in it, so it's versatile for us as well. And this is an example of one of our branding committee called it the logo in the wild. Up top, you've got Buckeye Imagination Museum, their very first billboard on I-71 has the Mansfield version of the logo. You see banners in downtown, banners for the West End. They both incorporated the brand, all actually brand colors as well as the logo. And then the sign that we had installed as a welcome sign out at Lom Airport. And then the QR code just takes somebody to a page on our site. But it's a prototype. It can be deployed in different parts of the county whenever needed. But we thought Lom Airport was a great place to start. And obviously it's fully branded, the colors, the photos, and Jody alluded to the photography. We're storytellers. It's what we do in tourism. That's what the chamber does when they're selling the community and representing it. Visually, that catches your attention. Then you start to read. The logo is just a stamp to tell them where you're at. So it can be, obviously, you're looking at, especially this particular, their screen, the multiple ways this can be used.
And 3 of the 4 of those were just done independent, like we were not involved in that or directing it. They came to us and said, we want to use the brand, which is really what we want to happen is ultimately it's for everyone to use.
That was kind of a neat signal to us that people were paying attention and they were drawn to it. So the things that we had told them are starting to come true. And it means there's a level of acceptance starting. And we thought that was important as well. These are just, like you say, these were visual cues used by folks we didn't have a sit down in front of and say, hey, here's how you can use it. They just adapted to it, I say, on their own. And
So since this is ours,
excuse me.
we had another.
Yeah, and one of the things that that didn't make it into this presentation, but exists, Mansfield City redid their website. It's going to look like a website you're going to see here in a few minutes. Shelby integrated the logo into their website. So they used the Richland County version of it. So they left their website alone, had it branded in their colors. However, they connected to the rest of Richland County by putting the logo in there. So those examples. And what's next? I'll save that for a little later. But we're creating materials every week, whether it's designing the ad, whether it's putting together a publication, or whether it's having more photos, videos taken. Those things are in the process now. And the one thing on the top of that list, which was rightly place taken by Brand Richland, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Sandy.
Thank you, Lee. Big way to get this community brand out to the community is through our open source website, which brandrichland.com you see right there. Our friends at DRM put it together and
Now.
yeah. So on this website, on the homepage, it tells you a little bit about the story. How did the brand come to be? You know, what is it? Who is Richland County? When the immersion company came in, you know, they looked at the people, like, what are we doing? They found we're the makers, the dreamers, you know, we're the movers, we're the people just igniting Richland County. So this tells you the story of how we're tenacity turned triumph. A lot of those positive words to help us with storytelling. So people can come here and just kind of learn how to speak this new brand language, really. So that's the homepage. About Us. The About Us page goes into it a little bit more. But really the heart of the website right now is the open source aspect of it. So if you would go to the top.
If you scroll just all the way to the bottom where you were for a second, I do want to know, we do have our, keep throwing it down a little bit. There we go. There we go. City, where's the county? Well, we got Richland County commissioners on there, but we'll get that on. But we have all of our founding.
Bridesmaid, Daryl.
I got invited. Thanks.
When I wanted to point it out, but yes, we wanted to just kind of note for posterity, this was the group that came together to really get this going. We think that's important.
Right.
Okay, so now.
So the brand library is the place where we want everybody to go. You were talking about the brand guidelines that's in here. It's also broken out into the website. You can download it or just read it here. It talks about the structure of the brand. Again, with Richland County being the at the top and all the communities as the sub brand. And if you scroll down a little bit more, this is where the logo library is. So if anyone clicks on any of those links, it'll download the whole library set. Right, so it might take it a little bit to download it, but you'll have different color options. We showed those in the initial slides. The logos are in the Mansfield steel blue, right? Steel blue,
Richland Raven.
Richland.
Sunburst yellow.
Ohio Sunset, Sunburst Yellow. So each city has the logos broken out into all these different colors. There's a little bit of a shadowed variation. We had the logo developed for embroidery, so that's on there too. All the elements that are in the logo, the spark has been built out, the ribbon all by itself. So anybody can use those elements in their any of their marketing, which you might have seen in a lot of our publications. We might have just the sunburst and, just to kind of show a little bit of the element without completely taking the brand.
Yeah, if you look at both of our publications, there are elements of the brand on every page.
Mhm.
Some little piece part of it. So it just shows continuity all the way through. That way, so that's what she's talking about when you just want to use different parts of or different elements of the brand.
And then just up a little bit more, Stacy, right there. There's the two versions too. So there's the horizontal and then there's the stamp version. And then that one on the right, it's very, very subtle, but there's just a little bit of outline there so that sometimes when it's on a, certain colors of paper, it needed a little bit more depth there. So.
And also it shows up in single colors. So any of the colors that we showed earlier, each logo can just occupy, it can all be the same color. We just call it the monochrome versions of it, but it's still all in brand.
And one of the things that we did do very consciously was pick colors that are nobody's colors. In other words, it's not school. I mean, there may be elements of different school colors in there, but it's nobody's colors. It's not the counties or the cities or the chambers or Destination Mansfield or Plymouth. And so, when you're using the full color version, that sometimes can present an issue. So that's why we have the single color version. So, when you're doing that, it's just use the single color version that works best with your logo, and it can be side by side and perfectly integrated. So we kind of wanted to get away as much as possible from the varsity jacket mentality to kind of unite everyone.
We actually had a lot of conversation around school colors and each community's colors in the middle of all these.
Right. And again, we're not expecting or asking actually people to change logos. Everyone's kind of figuring it out, and including ourselves. We're trying, these colors are very different. We have a very bright logo at the chamber. Mm-hmm. These don't match really. So, we're kind of exploring how does this get implemented. And for us, much like what Lee said, it's, we've said, does it matter? People know that it's us doing whatever we're promoting. So, when it's the business expo, it kind of does. So, you're going to see our logo leading that. Doesn't necessarily matter though when we're promoting the community for workforce purposes or for economic development purposes. So you're going to see the brand lead a lot of that marketing material versus our name.
Yeah, and same with us. Like for our shirts, we're obviously bright green, black, and white. We're out saying incarceration. We actually embroidered the logo, the stamp logo onto the sides of, onto the sleeves of our shirts. So we're starting to incorporate it that way. It's still our identity at the moment that's out there, but that was our way of stepping into it.
And in those you use just black, so it.
Yeah, we use the
Seamless.
single colors.
Mhm.
And, this website was, we looked at a lot of communities before we got started and said, who's really doing this well on a broad scale? And the closest example was Columbus. I mean, we all know that iconic Columbus, right? And they have used it very, very fully across all of their partners and things like that. And they have a brand Columbus website. And so we liked that from the start and we said, okay, we're going to commit to doing this so that it's open source. It's not controlled by Lee. It's not controlled by us. It's truly in the community's hands. Kind of next steps, you see the button for photography, though I don't think there's anything there yet.
It just talks about how to take photography
okay.
that sticks with the brand.
Oh, there are photography rules.
So,
There are rules. There are very specifics. We're kind of like the gatekeepers of a lot of that stuff because what we do for a living. So we've been utilizing.
That's me, sorry.
okay. Did that the whole time.
Yikes. Gonna come out numb out of that one. Yeah, we've been taking photos all along. We're starting to step that up and those conversations have been happening within our branding committee as to what things do we need to start to fill out and have enough assets. We have enough on our side to do anything tourism related and we're always gathering stuff. And we did it intentionally, but it took us years to get there, to have enough assets to be able to deploy whenever we needed to. And you've seen some of the handiwork. You see it on the Brand Richland site and you see it on your walls here. But having those lifestyle photos, community oriented, that has to be built. So for when we start to finally enact our marketing plan, which is one of the next things being worked on now, you got to have the assets to be able to deploy rather than try to catch up to it. So we rather ready, aim, fire than ready, fire, aim. So one of the things that this will happen for the next few years. We'll start to gather visual assets, things that fit what we want to be able to portray. And one of the things I've always said was one of the best compliments any of us could ever get is several years from now, nobody remembers what we used to look like. We have transformed the conversation. We've transformed ourselves visually. Everything everybody sees from the outside in, and even starting in depth in the community, you start to see the new colors, the new elements. It takes on a bit of civic pride at the same time, as well as it's part and parcel of all marketing efforts that extend outside the community. And that does go to video as well as just regular photos.
The Richland Works videos that we did with the workforce board. We also took still photography as part of those because we realized we need people happy at work. We need photos of that. So, we actually just didn't have a lot of photos of people at work, even if they were grumpy. So we've got really great collateral that we've been able to use. And again, we're willing to share any of that. So, just like Lee, that's kind of our commitment going forward. We want to add to that. And I would just add kind of finally that we're very committed to this. I mean, this is kind of a split project, meaning half of it's external facing, right? When we're attracting tourist businesses, people live here, but just as equally, it's internal facing to our community. And I think we can all agree that, our own perception of our community struggles sometimes. We're not alone in that, right? And so we're hoping that this will help us navigate that a little bit more positively. And we always talk, when I'm out talking and Lee does a shoot, speak positively about our community. That really starts to make a difference because you never know who's here visiting and you never know what they're going to hear. No community is perfect. I've yet to see one. So of course we've got issues and we're working to fix all those, but we hope the brand can help us tell that story a little more fully. So that's where we're at. And right now we're kind of in that third bullet there of like delivering all the materials, working with our municipalities. We're talking with them. How do we help you get this on your website? We're already doing some of the campaigns. We want to do that more fully. And we have done a lot of work around a marketing plan that kind of takes us through the next 6 years, actually, and major projects that we want to do along the way. So finalizing some of that. There's still a group actively meeting every month, talking about this. I mean, we just had a conversation yesterday about this, that the great thing is everybody owns it. The tough thing is everybody owns it and nobody's really in charge of just driving it. So we're doing it collectively. And, besides Lee and Sandy and I, who this is our job, we've got some really, really dedicated volunteers who it isn't their job, and they still show up every month to really help provide insight. So we appreciate those folks as well.
Yeah, so we've not done it in a vacuum. It's been collaborative all the way through. So we've tapped some really, really good minds that we bounce things off of all the time. And we've got tourism projects, traditional economic development projects, and you have, moving. And then you've got that mixed lane that's just called the Brand Richland lane, which is truly community oriented. The website you saw was probably the best visual, but that is totally for the community. It doesn't do anything. It's not a specific to tourism or anything else. And that's some of the stuff we're working on now. What's those things that affect the entire community that comes under the brand, which is a good thing. We've all worked together well anyway behind the scenes. That just helps solidify all kinds of working together in partnerships, because it's all being done for the benefit of the community, not just our organization or Jody's organization. It's for everybody. And that's kind of the fun part. I don't know if everybody realized that when we started the process. Some people got hung up on logos, they got hung up on colors. Like, no, it's the storytelling. It's the underlying part of it is bringing everybody together, telling the same story, just different ways, so that we are all way more cohesive than we've ever been. And that'll just get better as we move forward. Again, 5 years from now, people are like, well, this is the way things always are. Yes.
Then we've succeeded.
Yeah. First that's the way things should be. Now we're seeing it happen. And that'll be the ultimate goal.
Can I hit you with a quick question? I'm just
Sure.
thinking, and you're speaking my language here too. We have
Not the one static in your ears.
like a Blueberry Festival, for instance, or the Ontario Festival that's this week, and the 4th of July Festival,
Sure.
Shiloh Oxford. Do you have the assets to be able to help these independent committees and festival committees market themselves?
We do, but it's limited. I mean, the best thing we can do now is similar to what we're doing here. Have a sit down, say, okay, here's how you access all the logo elements. Please integrate them into what you're doing. And obviously, anytime anybody does something, we pick it up, like whether it goes on social media or we take videos of it or we take photos of it, it'll start showing up in all the things. But the more that people can grab the element that fits what they're doing and put it in, the better.
So obviously Matt works for the auditor's office, and I know that's bullet 5. But Matt, do you feel comfortable we love our Apple logo, obviously, and I think people recognize to it being the home of Johnny Appleseed. But do you feel we have a good plan? So I guess it's a question for both of you. Do you feel we have a good plan moving forward, how we can sort of infuse the brand into some of our materials, so to speak?
I don't have any problems. I think it looks fine.
But I mean,
And I would say, it would probably be good to connect you with Sandy, because she's been able to help some of the other communities just figure out, okay, it might fit here. We suggest you use this version or stuff like that. We're happy to help with any of that.
Yeah, and we can share all the examples that have come before, give you ideas. That was always, and Jody brings up a good point. We didn't just want to throw it out there. Okay, go get it. No, we want to have those one-on-one meetings whenever possible, and then guide people through it. But the integration will go much better and much faster.
Was this released for the first time? When was it used?
March.
Well, it was really released in 2022.
The guidelines.
Yeah. So again, we didn't have a big ta-da, but I think we first publicly talked about it around May of 2022. The first real visual you saw of it was his guide last year. And then our guide followed that shortly thereafter. And then it's kind of been more, picking up. We worked probably longer than we wanted to on the marketing plan. Just so that we could really, again, that idea of ready, aim, fire. We didn't want to just go in and then realize, oh, we should have done that differently. And we very consciously, before we did too much publicly, wanted to get brand Richland up so that we didn't talk about it. And then everyone was like, well, we can't access it. We got to email you, Jody or Lee. So we wanted to make sure it was that way first before we did a lot of
I have a question on a practical portion of this. I've had some shirts embroidered with, commissioner's logo and so on. So if I go to an embroidering business, you're very specific about the colors and they say, oh, we don't have that exact blue or red or yellow. Is it okay to use the closest they have, or would you prefer a monochrome version?
We would say monochrome, I think, in that.
Guidelines,
Yeah.
specific color palette,
There is the embroidery specific.
and there's embroidery specific logos. It's,
This is a very
I could show it to an embroidering.
logos.
oh, it's.
Embroidery.
Here's the threads we have in
I'm just
yellow.
basically gonna go to Lee and Jody and say, how do we do this here? Cause I try the guidelines and then the library itself is challenging.
Yeah,
And we're always happy to answer questions, but we did,
or show us what you're up to.
I forget where we were, but we had just had a meeting about it not too long ago. And after that, someone asked, hey, can we adopt this in our colors? And I was like, no,
No.
you can't do that. Don't change the colors. But use the monochrome if you want. That didn't ultimately work for what they wanted to do, but
Yeah, and then
But yes,
an
in that
example of
sense.
our neon green shirts that we'll have on at ink, we used the moniker, the darkest color on ours.
I will say the ones that we're wearing, which there's a version of this in your boxes, by the way. This is a transfer that Catalyst Progress Industries did for us. So it's not actually embroidered, but it was almost screen printed on. So that's a good option when you're looking at something like that. That's something we're working with them to get some embroidery, but we don't have it done yet. so.
Yeah, these were pre-embroidery logo.
Yeah.
So we had to have that built out because we realized there were it needed to be.
It was very
tweaked.
finely
Yeah,
detailed.
Advantage Marketing did these shirts, and then Progress Industries is working on.
Yeah,
getting that
sorry,
logo
I said the
together.
wrong thing.
How's the branding video coming?
Still working on. We changed reps. So now we're educating them. So we took a brief pause on it. But still
We put the RFP.
the RFP,
We've been talking
the RFP
local
is,
vendors.
the RFP is out.
Okay, cause I've met with DRM on the Celebrate Richland County. We've been going back and forth and I've asked them to get some footage and trying to tie it all together. Then with our state of the county video, so we can release kind of the three of them what's the best way for the branding and the releases?
And we've had a proposal back to identify shots that are needed. So that once we sign off on that, then we can get moving.
I think that brand video will be the next big
Yeah.
visual thing to come out of this project. So we're excited to partner with you on it.
Or coffee.
We'll get you a brand cookie.
The kid liked that, but
Made them before. They're good.
kid liked.
Any other questions? We did a lot of talking, sorry.
Well, you've got a lot to talk about and we appreciate the hard work to get it here. Sharing with the whole county. Plymouth being in two different counties, if they
Right.
give you any flack from the Kern County people.
Honestly, Mayor Fryman was like, we love this. And I think they more identify with Richland County. They kind of do a little bit more on this side. So yeah, she's working to figure out how to get it on their website. And so,
That's because we're awesome.
and in your boxes, so, you've got these shirts, you're welcome to open them, by the way. Just some small swag material, stickers. We've got,
I want to make sure it's under the minimums.
it is definitely under the
Oh, yeah.
minimum. We knew that, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you don't want to be on video taking gifts that exceed any,
Correct. You know the rules.
right.
So. Not that we tried to cheap out for you, but
All right,
so t-shirt in there.
got a cup, the logo, and all kinds of.
Betty nut cheddar.
Yeah.
Button stickers
Uh,
and a bag. That looks like what Sandy has.
yeah.
Another thing we're working on. Yes.
You did go to Mansfield Tent Nodding. I appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, and Darren, you saw me yesterday. I've got one that's pretty sizable as well. Does fit?
Yeah.
Very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, very welcome.
We're working on stuff that we can that make available to the public. Obviously, they'll, likely be charged for that, but t-shirts, some things, because we want it to be used more fully. So that'll kind of be coming in the next months. Support.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for your time today.
Yeah. and actually, I would just say that I think, the timing was right all around. Because as a community, we often talk about this in economic development, but we all know communities not all that far away where everyone doesn't always get along within the different governmental layers. And, by and large here, we all do, we're working together, we're going the same direction. And I think the brand now just visually displays that a little.
I think the word of family of communities, I thought that was brilliant.
The agency got it right. And one of the things that helped us was actually the pause in COVID. Because when we came back and they wanted to do immersion week, the original plan was they would have had on-site visits and done face-to-face focus groups. We all learned a new skill in the pandemic, online meetings. So everybody was comfortable with it. So
No, we weren't.
No.
you didn't like your smiling face broadcast to the world online?
It was usually his forehead, to be honest.
I hate remote meetings. You know
I
that.
didn't know that.
And I agree on that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's anyone's favorite thing, but we were able to do our focus groups that way. So then they had a lot more time on the ground to talk to people. So it was much better.
And that was our biggest hurdle.
Cubican, right?
You do? There's still some of them left.
That'll be forever.
Now, when they came in, they had 99% of their time was on the ground, meeting people. And our first was about a month and a half later when they wrote the brand story. And they pitched us the elements and how they put it together. And every one of us went, you got it.
Mhm.
You nailed it from day one. So
Yeah,
all
the
the
family
copy-
communities thing is.
They listened, and I think it made sense to them when they visited all four corners of the county. They understood you have distinct personalities across our county, and they got it. They wondered where we were going sometimes. They're like, nope, this is going to pay off. You have to internalize this. And they did. And yes, the family of communities or a Richland County community, they listened, they figured out how to make it all cohesive and for everybody to be included. And when that happened, we had a collective sigh of relief and then got fired up. We're like, okay, this is great.
And, not publicly promoted, but the underlying brand promise is a story in the making is yours to transform. So, they really understood that we are very much still reinventing ourselves. We're still in the resurgence, the revitalization period. And so they said, we think you should absolutely embrace that because there are going to be people that will be drawn to that aspect versus trying to go to a community that's, not to say that we're not put together, but we welcome people to the table. We want, I'm a transplant, Lee's a transplant, Sandy's a transplant. Other people are transplants, and we all have been able to have a real voice in this community. And we think that's something that we should share because that's, again, unique.
And that actually came out in one of the profiles from last year, that young woman who's actively engaged in the community at multiple levels. Her friends of the same age haven't gotten nearly as far as she has when it comes to influencing or being effective in their community because they went to much larger places. So it takes a lot longer to get there, or you're just one of a lot more than what we have here. So you can make your impact. But she wrote about that and it showed up in one of the things. So everything we do is intentional. The copy that comes out of most things was all built from the brand story. Everything is built from something. It's not random. It may seem random. Congratulations if y'all think it is, but it's very intentional. And it does, as Jody said, it sends a message, whether it's whether it's subtle or whether it's overt. If that resonates with somebody who's looking at us, they're going to be much happier when they get here. If we've told them something that doesn't match who we are, it's why we have fun showing people in all of our publications, like, oh, that's me, that's so-and-so, I know that person. We're putting ourselves and those of us in our community, we call them our models, into everything we do. So that's recognizable outside of the community. And when people get here, they're like, oh yeah, whether they consciously realize it or not, they're already comfortable when they get here because they've seen who we are.
One of the things, Lee, that you mentioned is forgetting what we were.
Mhm.
And that got in my mind because I can remember Fun Center of Ohio, Reason for All Seasons. And I haven't thought about those for a long time because you guys have been doing such a good job that advancing the Richland County and Mansfield down the road, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate your partnership.
Carl, do you have any questions?
No, just a couple.
Where's that in the county? Just kidding.
Remember the mountains up north?
Family of mountains.
Yeah.
No trails.
For some,
Yeah.
there's no trick. Right next to the Matterhorn.
It was in May, Jody and Lee, that I published a story May 27th last year.
Wow.
And you talked about at that time, you're just getting started, so. 1 year in. And this is kind of spooky because I'm somebody that like to be able to measure. I didn't know. Being successful with this program.
Right now, brand adoption.
Yeah.
That's, I think,
Yeah,
that's
brand adoption. And we're seeing the brand pop up on its own unprompted.
Yes.
I think that for us is that's been the most exciting thing. I mean, the city of Mansfield completely redid their website around it and we knew nothing about it till like a couple months before they were ready to hit go. We were like, you did what? Really? That's awesome, so yeah.
Banners that just the wayfinding.
When the housing study was published,
Yeah.
it was all in. That floored me as well as the website for Mansfield. It's like they took it to heart.
Did James do that, Jody, for the city? It is nice.
Yeah.
Very
They're
nice.
using the brand standards, so they're using it right.
Before it resigned. So is it, understand,
Last two rounds.
that's big, it's working in Mansfield. Greg's question, prompted me to go look. I went to the Bicycle Days website. I went to the Ontario 4th of July website. Even went to the Blueberry Festival. They have an updated available street fair web, but I don't see any of those things there. So how do you get the message now? It's worked in Mansfield. How do you spread that out to Ontario, Shelby, so they begin to incorporate this as well?
So we, in the marketing guide, said we would start with our government partners. So that's kind of we're kind of finishing our tour. We do need to get to Butler and Shiloh and Lucas still, but we've talked with everyone else. Then we said the next layer would be, we kind of did a rollout to our branding committee. So that would be like DMI and some of the other like organizational partners. But then, yeah, we want to hit like beyond that of people that we do. So we haven't prompted it, but hopefully as we're kind of doing this more publicly, they realize they can.
Yeah. And we have talked about what our next targets are.
Mm-hmm.
This is all top line stuff. And then we're going to work our way through that list.
Partners.
And a lot, I mean, like really, most government entities don't have a communications person on staff. So
Is that your way of saying we should hire one?
I'd love to talk to you about that. No, but we're trying to say, well, how can we help with that too? Of like,
Yeah.
what could we help provide to just make this unrolling easier? And we don't have an exact answer so far. It's just been, call Sandy, she'll help you get it. But like that's not a long-term solution. So
Counties that do, when we went to CCAO, Daryl, if you remember, it's the give and take, right? Do your taxpayers want you to have pay for someone to, what they might view as a platform for you to get out what you want to get out, but the counties and cities that do it well do have communications
communications
directors.
is pretty central.
And if anybody's seen one of my presentations, and I know some have seen too many of them, but I always end with every community needs to compete every day for its share of business capital, investment, visitors, doesn't matter what it is. If you're not there, you're missing. So for somebody to think of it in those terms of, no, that's fluff or that's your own PR wing. No, everything out there, you always have to put something out there and sell yourself, or else somebody else is telling your story. This is taking control of our own narrative and putting it out there the way we'd like to see it. And it's accurate because the brand story was built off of solid research that understood us all.
Having heard that, let me ask the next question. This project was $100,000. You got a lot of partners invested in it to make it happen. Are you going to need or request or thinking about a replenishment, more money to keep the program going, or is it self-sustaining now?
Well.
Well,
I will say the city of Mansfield has already allocated 200,000 from their ARPA funds to help with projects. We have not tapped that at this point. The chamber received a grant from the foundation last year. That's what paid for Brand Richland. That's what's paid for swag. So we kind of have jump started. Lee extensively has jump started with his budget. But when we're talking about projects, videos, things, assets, campaigns, we're gonna need some money for that. So
committing to a video.
correct. So but again, this is,
That's just one element of an entire.
But don't make it say we're not playing yet.
I was not in any way implying that. What I was gonna say though was that's why we took the time to do the marketing plan, because I know that if we were to come back and say, we would like you to consider an ARPA allocation, I mean, your first question will be and should be, well, what do you want to do with it? And we couldn't be like, just trust us, so we're still kind of working through that. But yes, I would say, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that we propose it. And other entities too, by the way, we're talking to, not just the government entities. So.
And I'll go back to the value of the marketing end of it. I'd like to think we're an embodiment and a success story when it comes to, do you need to market? Do you need to promote? Do you need to tell your story? Do you need to recruit people to come in? Yes. The tourism industry has, I think if nothing else, I think we proved that question or that doubt wrong. It does work and it is necessary.
Could revenue loss cover branding? I mean, the city set aside money in ARPA, but I'm saying, would revenue loss be acceptable in terms of branding?
All comes down to the same question of, what county government otherwise can statutorily give forward. And it is limited, although.
But we're more limited than the city,
Appropriate towards.
right? So we could do tourism.
Certain purposes, Lee and I had this conversation, and so, it might be a matter where we appropriate money towards a certain area.
And then Lee can, I guess we're doing, if we used ARPA for the video, that's what we had talked about, right? Okay.
And we're doing a little research too on just, other communities that, from all over the country and ARPA funds and how they've done it. Cause
And Andrew, they're taking it a step further than I did.
You still never got me the answer on that one, or even if that was an answer. Remember we talked about it earlier as far as concerts and whatnot?
It was allocated to a Convention and Visitor Bureau to fulfill their marketing goals. And one of their marketing goals was, So had
is
it
that in
done,
Cincy?
yeah, Sacramento.
I'm not saying,
Sacramento.
Was one of them in
and
particular.
I think that's a stretch of the guidelines, but yeah, that's a stretch.
They basically said that if they were helping jumpstart and strengthening the mission of their destination marketing organization. And that was a part of their plan because it drove people into the community because it was a specific event.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see.
And I would just say from the chamber, because obviously we worked with you with both CARES funds and ARPA on those grants, I'm well aware of, what you're gonna get asked in your audits, above a certain amount, which we're not.
I mean, I think.
Gonna do anything like that, but I know what we've had to provide in the
Documentation.
documentation, so we wanna, we're we haven't asked yet because we want to be really specific.
Sure.
So,
But again, Andrew's right. The state allows us to contribute to a certain sector of the CVB.
Right.
And how you could do that is, okay, Lee.
and then
let's
he
come up with what we
reallocates.
can Contribute, and then that would free up dollars then for Lee to use towards the branding. So that would be the mechanism to do it. So
Happy,
Okay.
happy to do that.
I'm sure you are.
Get it, Carl? Is Al still online? Al? News Journal? Any questions for our partners here?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Greg, you've asked all your questions?
And we can send this presentation to the media partners.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Do you want this?
you can keep it.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3-minute recess, Cliff?
Sure, 3-minute recess.
Sorry.
It is 11:03. The Richland County Board of Commissioners is back in session. And we are joined by Lori Bedson, Director of Job and Family Services. She's here to talk about a couple of contracts. These number of things.
Couple of things, yes.
So, Lori, it's your show. What you got to say?
Started. Well, we'll go ahead and start with the lease. This is a lease that we have done with Medicaid. We have some Medicaid outreach partners in our Ohio Means Job Center, and they've been there probably since 2017. The last contract I could find was from 2019, but I'm thinking it's been a little longer. And they just pay us for space for 2 workers to work out of the building. They do not see clients. They do quality assurance of Medicaid applications. So this is just that annual lease that they would like us to enter into with them so they can continue to keep those workers in our Ohio Means Job Center.
So moved.
Second.
And then the
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Quick questions as well.
Sure.
So this is through June 30th of 2024.
yes.
1-year contract. The payment has changed. Is that because they've reduced down from 3 cubicles to 2, so it's less than it was before?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
All right, just want to clarify that. Thank you.
So,
Thank you. That's all I had.
and the second item is an agreement with the Richland County Children's Auxiliary, the new store. The new store works with our TANF school voucher program. We're doing this contract on behalf of the council. So the council really holds the TANF dollars right now to operate our school voucher and school book back program, which is coming up on August 8th and 9th at Crossroads. And what this allows the new store to do is to purchase all of the items to pack the backpacks for, we anticipate roughly 1,380 to 1,400 children will receive backpacks and school vouchers for clothing during that event. And this will allow, again, the new store to purchase the items to pack the backpacks, and they will be with items that are appropriate for different school age levels. So.
No, I'm familiar with that organization. I have volunteered there. I know Commissioner Vero has volunteered there as well. I've seen him.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mears.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
And last,
And the last item is just a resolution so that we can enter into just some general maintenance type of contracts, including our contracts for the security officers. We currently have about 13 security officers that are, we anticipate will renew their contracts as of July 1. And we split the time of the officers with the child support office. They are in the child support agency about 2 hours each day. And then the remaining 6 hours they cover through our Ohio Means Job Center, but are available to operate within the main building as well if they need to. So this is just to renew those contracts. We do contract at $40 per hour for the security officers, and that's been the rate for a couple of years now.
So moved.
And
I have a good
Oh,
question.
sorry, yes.
Could you remind me what Language Line is?
Language Line is the interpreter service that we use. It's a state interpreter service.
Yeah, I thought it was audit
If someone calls in,
charge.
it is. If someone calls in speaking Spanish, our caseworkers can tap into the Language Line, and then they have an interpreter who can interpret during the
It's very expensive.
eligibility process.
Thank you.
And then shred it just to take care of all of our documents.
I'll second the motion.
Commissioner Mears,
Yes.
Commissioner Banks,
Yes.
Commissioner Vero.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Lori from us? Anybody online?
Al.
Al, do you have any questions for Lori?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that one thing on that. Contract Children's Auxiliary, you mentioned that the council holds the TANF funds. That's the council for what, Youth and Family Council?
I'm sorry, yes, it is the Youth and Family Council.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Nobody else online? Any other business to come before the Board of Commissioners? Hearing none, Board of Commissioners stands adjourned at 11:09. Thank you, Lori. Always good.